Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful spiritual teachings out there, Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. This isn't just a book, it's really a guide to figuring out the true source of our anxiety and suffering. And you know what? It offers a path to peace that's way simpler than you might think. Let's get into it.
So it all starts with this one big question. What if all that stress, that constant worry that kind of runs our lives in the background, what if it's not actually based in reality at all? What if it's all just a big misunderstanding of who we really are? It's a pretty wild idea, but honestly, it's the key to everything we're about to talk about.
Tolle kicks things off with this incredible little story. And the point is, we are that beggar. We spend our whole lives searching outside ourselves for happiness, for peace, for something to make us feel whole, all while we're literally sitting on a treasure chest that's already full. The treasure is already inside us, we just have to stop and look.
Okay, let's talk about the word enlightenment. It can sound pretty huge, right? Like some superhuman goal that's totally out of reach. But Tolle just cuts right through all that. He says, look, it's not about being perfect or levitating, it's simply about the end of suffering. It's about getting back to your natural state of peace, which isn't some far-off prize, it's accessible to you right here, right now.
So if this peace is our natural state, then what's blocking it? What's getting in the way? Well, according to Tolle, the biggest obstacle is literally right between our ears. The problem is we've made a huge mistake. We think that we are the constant chatter in our own heads. And that one little mistake, well, that's the source of pretty much all our pain.
This really breaks down our inner world into two parts. You've got the thinker, that's the voice in your head that never shuts up, right? The one that's always judging, worrying, complaining. But then there's the watcher. That's your true self. The silent awareness that can just observe that voice without getting swept away by it. Real freedom starts the moment you realize you're not the voice. You're the one listening to it.
For centuries, our whole culture has been built on this one idea from Descartes. I think, therefore I am. We've been taught that our thoughts define us. Tolle says this is the single most fundamental error we make. Believing you are your thoughts is what keeps you trapped. You're not the thoughts, you're the space in which the thoughts happen.
So when Tolle talks about the ego, he means this false self that the mind creates. It's like a phantom that can only survive in time. It needs the past to give an identity, all your stories, your resentments, and it needs the future to promise its salvation. One day when I get X, I'll finally be happy. The one place it can't stand to be is right here, in the present.
And this brings us to another one of his huge concepts, the pain body. Think about it. Every bit of emotional pain we've ever had that we didn't fully process, it doesn't just vanish. It leaves behind a residue, and all that old energy clumps together to form what he calls the pain body. It's like this dormant creature inside us that just wants to survive, and the only way it can do that is by feeding on, you guessed it, more pain.
And this is exactly how you know the pain body is waking up. Do any of these feel familiar? That sudden flash of irritation over nothing, a wave of deep sadness, or maybe that weird urge to pick a fight and create some drama. Tolle says these aren't just random moods. A lot of the time, it's the pain body waking up from its slumber, looking for its next meal.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem pretty clearly. We identify with our minds with this ego and this pain body. So what's the cure? How do we get out? Well, according to Tolle, the key to all of it is to escape the delusion of time.
Now, this is a really important distinction. He's not saying you should throw away your watch or your calendar. That's clock time, and it's a useful tool for setting appointments and getting things done. The real problem is psychological time. That's the mental habit of constantly dwelling on the past and worrying about the future. He actually calls it a mental disease.
And here's the absolute core of the idea. Think of any negative emotion. Tolle argues that it literally cannot survive without psychological time. You can't feel anxious if you're not thinking about a negative future. You can't feel regret without thinking about the past. All negativity needs time to exist.
I mean, this table just lays it out so perfectly. Look at the left side. Guilt, regret, resentment. All of that stuff is caused by being mentally trapped in the past. And the right side, anxiety, stress, worry. All caused by living in a future that hasn't even happened. Notice what's missing from the list of things that cause problems? The present moment. So, we've gone from what the problem is to what the solution is, so now let's get practical. How do we actually do this? How do we break out of that trap of time and start using the power of the present moment?
All right, here's another idea that might feel a little radical. Tolle says that your problems aren't actually real. They're just stories that your mind creates, and those stories need past and future to even exist. He says a problem just means you're dwelling on something without having any power to act on it right now. In the actual pure reality of this moment, problems just dissolve.
Let's try this, seriously. I want you to ask yourself this question. Not in 5 minutes, not what happened yesterday, but in this exact second, as you're hearing my voice. Do you have a problem? The answer, when you're truly present, is always no. In the now, there are only situations. You either deal with them or you accept them. The problem part is just a story your mind is telling you.
When you really stop and think about it, your entire life only ever happens in the now. The past was a series of nows, and the future will only ever arrive as another now. It's the only thing that's real. And it's your one and only doorway beyond the chattering mind and into that deep, peaceful part of yourself that Tolle calls being.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If this is all true, how do we actually live it? How do we break a lifetime's habit of being lost in our own thoughts?
While Tolle gives us a practice that is so simple, but it is absolutely life-changing. Step 1, just start listening to that voice in your head. Step 2, be there as the witness, the silent observer behind it all. Now, step 3 is key. Whatever you hear, don't judge it, don't condemn it, just notice it. When you do that, you create a little bit of space. And in that space, you'll start to notice these little gaps between thoughts. That gap, that is peace, that is present.
So what's the payoff here? What actually happens when this simple practice starts to become a part of your life? Well, it's nothing less than the end of suffering.
This first chart, this is pretty much the default human condition, right? When our identification with our mind is super high, our suffering is also super high. And that deep inner joy of just being alive, it's almost zero. We can't feel it through all the noise.
But now look at what happens when you flip the switch. As you practice being that silent watcher, your level of presence goes way up. And as a direct result, suffering just dissolves. It literally can't survive in the light of your awareness. And what rushes in to fill that space? The joy of being. It was there the whole time, just buried under all that mental chatter.
Ultimately, what this all means is that everything we're really searching for in life, real power, real love, real joy, they can't be found by the mind or in the future. They are qualities of who we really are, deep down. And they can only be accessed in the stillness and aliveness of the present moment.
And we'll leave you with this last, pretty deep thought from Tolle. To die before you die means to let go of your attachment to that false, made-up self, the ego. And when that illusion dissolves, you finally discover what's left. What's really you? The timeless, conscious presence that was never born and can never die. You find that there's only life, and it's always, always now.